When a rising star is sabotaged by her own best friend, who fakes a vocal injury to steal the spotlight, the stage becomes a battlefield of betrayal. Marina Torres, 18, had always been the girl with the voice. With sun-kissed brown skin, long curls cascading down her back and eyes full of dreams, she could silence a room with just one note. Growing up in the small coastal town of Alder Bay, Marina had one passion: music. Her best friend, Callie Drake, 18, fair-skinned with sharp cheekbones, emerald eyes, and a talent for piano, had always supported her, or so Marina thought. They had entered local contests together, won duets, and even recorded cover songs on their shared YouTube channel. But now an opportunity far bigger than anything they'd imagined had arrived: the prestigious Harmonia Rising Star audition, a once-in-a-lifetime event in the capital city that could launch careers overnight. Marina was ecstatic. For the first time she felt like her voice might carry her beyond Alder Bay's foggy streets and cramped cafes. Callie, though smiling, felt a gnawing sense of dread. For all her own talent, she knew Marina's voice outshined hers, and she hated how invisible that made her feel. Callie never wanted to admit it aloud, but she'd always resented Marina. While Marina drew standing ovations, Callie remained the girl behind the piano. Teachers praised Marina's raw vocal power. Judges swooned over her effortless control. Even their classmates whispered that Marina was destined for greatness. At home, Callie's mother, a former singer who never made it big, only added fuel to the fire. "If only you had Marina's natural voice," she often sighed. Every comment chipped away at Callie's pride, even as she pretended to be Marina's #1 fan. When Marina shared the news that she had made it to the final audition round in Harmonia, Callie's smile didn't reach her eyes. She congratulated her, even hugged her tightly. But deep down an idea was already forming. One that was cruel, desperate, and unthinkable. Callie didn't just want Marina to fail, she wanted to prove that without that golden voice, Marina was nothing. Marina threw herself into rehearsals. Every morning before school, every evening after, she practiced tirelessly. Her vocal coach, Mr. Brent, insisted on precision and emotional delivery. Marina soaked it all in. She was planning to perform Broken Skies, a ballad that required both subtlety and strength. "This song needs your soul," Mr. Brent told her. And Marina, who had lived through her parents' divorce and years of financial hardship, had plenty of soul to give. Callie watched quietly from the sidelines. She offered to accompany Marina on piano during the audition, which Marina eagerly accepted. "We started this together. We'll finish it together," she said. But Callie had other plans. The night before they were set to leave for Harmonia, Callie visited Marina with herbal tea in hand. "For your nerves," she said with a soft smile. Marina, exhausted from rehearsals, didn't question it. What Marina didn't know was that Callie had slipped a throat irritant. Harmless in small doses but enough to cause hoarseness for at least 48 hours. She had researched it obsessively, ensuring it wouldn't cause permanent damage. She told herself it was just a temporary setback, just enough to humble her friend. That night, Marina woke up coughing. Her throat burned and her voice cracked when she tried to speak. Panic gripped her. By morning, Marina's condition had worsened. She couldn't sing more than a few raspy notes. Mr. Brent was concerned, but Marina begged him not to cancel the audition. "It's my only chance," she whispered, voice trembling. Callie stayed close, comforting her, pretending to be devastated. "Maybe your voice will come back just in time," she offered, already knowing it wouldn't. As they boarded the train to Harmonia, Marina wore a scarf and remained silent, sipping honey and lemon. Callie sat beside her, holding her hand with the same fingers that had stolen her voice. Arriving in Harmonia was like stepping into another world. Towering buildings, neon-lit streets, and bustling music studios buzzed with possibility. Marina, though awestruck, could barely enjoy it, her throat still raw, her voice a whisper. They checked into the contestant dormitory where aspiring artists from across the country had gathered. Most of them were warming up, networking, and practicing. Marina, meanwhile, stayed silent, trying to preserve whatever little voice she had left. Callie played the role of the supportive friend perfectly, bringing her warm drinks, checking her temperature, and suggesting she avoid speaking altogether. But inside, Callie was bubbling with anticipation. If Marina couldn't sing, she might not even be able to perform. And if that happened, maybe Callie's piano talent would be recognized instead. Maybe she would be invited to stay. Yet a small part of her trembled. What if someone found out? The day before auditions, the panel of celebrity judges arrived. World-famous producer Aria Quinn, ex-pop star Rafe Morales, and classical soprano legend Thalia Dresden. Their presence sent waves of excitement through the dorm. Marina had idolized Aria Quinn since childhood. The thought of singing in front of her was both thrilling and terrifying, especially now. Marina attempted to hum a few bars in the practice room, but her voice cracked so badly that one contestant turned and winced. Callie was watching, trying to hide her satisfaction. "Maybe you should bow out," she said gently later that night. "It's not giving up. It's just realistic." Marina looked devastated. "I can't. I've worked too hard," Callie sighed, putting on her best sympathetic face. "Well, if it comes to it, maybe we do a piano solo instead. I'll be ready." Marina pushed herself to rehearse one last time. She entered the empty auditorium after hours, hoping no one would hear her struggle. The first notes came out as a painful rasp, but she kept going. Tears welled in her eyes with each broken lyric. She didn't see the janitor in the shadows, an old man who paused as he listened. He didn't know her story, but he saw something rare in her, desperation wrapped in talent. When Marina finished, crumpling to her knees, he slowly approached. "Sometimes," he said, "the heart sings louder than the throat." She nodded, wiping her eyes. That night she wrote a letter to the judges, explaining her situation, begging for a chance, even if it meant singing through the pain. Callie found the letter in her bag hours later. She stared at it for a long time, then quietly added it back. The auditorium buzzed with energy. Contestants lined up backstage, each dressed to impress. Marina wore a flowing emerald green dress, her curls tied back, her throat wrapped in a silk scarf. Her skin glowed with nerves and quiet determination. Callie, in a sleek black blouse and pants, sat behind the grand piano, cool, collected, and rehearsed. When Marina's name was called, the crowd quieted. Aria Quinn glanced down at the sheet music. "Broken Skies." Bold choice. Marina stepped forward, her hands shook. She took a deep breath. Then she began. The first notes were shaky. A rasp escaped her lips. Callie's fingers danced across the keys, but suddenly her hands froze. She had missed a chord. Marina blinked, confused, but kept going. Again, Callie faltered on purpose. The judges exchanged glances. Was this sabotage or just nerves? Marina's eyes locked on Callie's. Something snapped. The betrayal shimmered in the air like a glass cracking. She stopped. Then she stepped away from the microphone. "I need to do this alone," she said hoarsely. The judges nodded. The audience hushed. With her voice still frayed, Marina closed her eyes and let the song pour out, not with perfection but with pain, honesty, and raw passion. Every note bled emotion. The rasp in her voice became its own music. Her final note, though barely more than a whisper, lingered in the air like a secret. The room erupted in stunned silence. Then a standing ovation. Callie stood frozen, pale, jaw clenched. Her plan had unraveled before her eyes, and karma, as it turned out, had impeccable timing. The panel took a moment to gather their thoughts. Aria Quinn stood first, her sharp features softened by awe. "That," she said slowly, "was not flawless, but it was real. It was unforgettable." Thalia Dresden added, "You made the imperfections part of the art. That takes something more than skill. It takes soul." Rafe Morales simply nodded. "You told a story with your voice. That's what we look for." Marina, still catching her breath, looked toward Callie at the piano. Her best friend stood stiffly, her eyes unreadable. For the first time, Callie's mask was slipping. Backstage, Marina was approached by producers who hinted at interest in signing her regardless of the competition's outcome. Whispers of a raw, emotionally powerful voice with a unique tone spread like wildfire through the auditorium. Callie watched it all. She felt invisible again. Only this time she knew she had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Later that evening, after the auditions concluded, Marina found Callie packing their things in the shared hotel room. The air was thick with unspoken tension. "Why did you stop playing?" Marina asked quietly. Callie didn't turn. "I was nervous," she muttered. Marina shook her head. "You've never missed a note in your life." Callie froze. Her hands trembled. Marina walked closer. "You gave me that tea. You knew it would affect my voice." Callie finally turned, tears in her eyes, but not remorseful, defensive. "You always had everything, Marina. The praise, the attention. I was just the shadow behind the star." Marina's voice was barely above a whisper. "So you tried to destroy me." Callie collapsed onto the bed, hiding her face. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted one chance to be seen." Marina stared at her, heartbreak eclipsing anger. "You could have been seen with me, not against me." Word of Marina's audition spread fast. By morning, she was trending on social media. Fans began sharing clips, and even Aria Quinn reposted a snippet with the caption, "True talent finds its way through anything." Producers reached out, offering Marina a mentorship program. She would get voice therapy, media training, and a possible recording contract. Despite her injury, she had emerged stronger and noticed. Callie, however, became the subject of whispers backstage. One of the other contestants mentioned seeing her preparing the suspicious tea. Another claimed she heard her practicing a solo piece just in case Marina couldn't perform. Eventually, A minor investigation by the contest board confirmed misconduct. Callie was disqualified from all future Harmonia auditions and blacklisted by the organization. Her dreams collapsed around her. Morena didn't press charges. She didn't need revenge. She already had something more powerful: justice served on a silver spotlight. Weeks later, Morena sat in a vocal therapist's office, relearning how to breathe and sing without strain. Her voice was healing slowly, but her spirit felt lighter. Mr. Brent visited her often, reminding her that sometimes the cracks are what let the light in. "You've been tempered by fire," he told her. "That's what separates stars from meteors." She received an invitation to perform at the Harmonia Gala, a showcase for standout talents from the auditions. Despite lingering rasp, she agreed. This time she would sing without Callie behind her. She would stand alone, and she was ready. Meanwhile, Callie returned to Alder Bay. The town that once applauded her as a prodigy now saw her in a different light. She withdrew from public life, her guilt heavy. But in solitude, she began to understand the damage she caused, not just to Morena but to herself. Under the golden lights of the Harmonia Opera Hall, Morena stood center stage, wearing a navy blue gown, curls flowing, her rich brown skin glowing under the spotlight. She radiated confidence and strength. The music began, this time a different song, "Rise Again," a haunting melody about betrayal, pain, and rebirth. Her voice, though not fully recovered, was filled with resilience. Each lyric hit with emotion. Every note rang with truth. In the crowd sat Aria Quinn, Rafe Morales, Thalia Dresden, and a sea of talent agents. Phones recorded, eyes watched, hearts listened. By the final note, the audience was on its feet. Morena bowed, eyes misty, not from pain this time, but from pride. Back in Alder Bay, Callie watched the performance on her laptop. She cried, not out of jealousy but sorrow, and maybe, just maybe, hope that one day she could make things right. Following the gala, Morena's life changed forever. Invitations from record labels poured in. Interviews, photo shoots, and a small tour were offered. But she moved cautiously. She chose a team that valued authenticity over fame, and a label that promised to preserve her unique voice. Morena decided to take a year to rest her vocal cords fully while writing her debut album. The songs were personal, stories of loyalty, betrayal, ambition, and forgiveness. Each lyric was a reflection of her journey, especially the wound left by someone she had once trusted like a sister. Despite the whirlwind of success, she remained grounded. She returned often to Alder Bay to visit her vocal coach and to volunteer at the local youth music center. Her goal wasn't just to become a star, it was to inspire others not to give up on their dreams, even when they were sabotaged. As her first single hit the top of the streaming charts, Morena realized that everything, every betrayal, every broken note, had led her exactly where she needed to be. Callie, still in Alder Bay, lived in quiet reflection. She avoided the music scene and withdrew from the few friends she had left. But guilt was a shadow that never let go. She had written Morena dozens of letters, some apologizing, some explaining, some begging for a second chance. But she never sent them. Each letter ended with a question she didn't know how to answer. Would Morena ever forgive me? Her piano gathered dust in the corner. But one day she sat down, hands trembling, and played the melody Morena had sung at the gala. She cried through the final chord. In that moment, Callie realized she hadn't only betrayed her best friend, she had betrayed herself. And if she wanted redemption, it would take more than apologies. It would take action. Nearly a year later, Morena returned to Alder Bay to speak at a youth music conference. She was now 19, her voice nearly back to its full glory, and her reputation as a rising star fully cemented. After her speech, she visited her old cafe hangout, the place where she and Callie once dreamed together. To her shock, Callie was there, alone at a corner table, sketching music notes on napkins. Their eyes met. Silence. Neither of them moved at first. Then slowly, Morena approached. "I heard your song at the gala," Callie said softly. "It was beautiful," Morena nodded. "Thank you." An awkward pause followed. Then Callie added, "I'm sorry, Morena, for everything. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed to say it." Morena looked at her. The pain was still there, but so was empathy. "People make mistakes," she said. "But some mistakes leave scars." Callie's eyes brimmed with tears. "I know, I live with that every day." They talked for hours that afternoon, about the contest, about the betrayal, about their childhood dreams. Callie didn't make excuses. She admitted her jealousy, her cruelty, and the damage she caused. Morena listened, guarded but open. Healing, she knew, wasn't about forgetting. It was about moving forward. "I won't pretend we can go back," Morena said. "But maybe we can start again, from a distance maybe. As artists, as people who once mattered to each other." Callie nodded. "That's more than I deserve," Morena half smiled. "Maybe, But everyone deserves a second chance, eventually. Before they parted, Morena handed Callie a flyer. "There's a new mentorship program for young musicians. I think you'd be good for it." Callie looked at it with trembling fingers. "You'd recommend me? I believe in redemption," Morena said, "even if it takes time." 1 year later, Morena stood on stage in a sold-out venue, performing the final song of her tour, "The Voice That Betrayed." The song had become a national hit, but more than that, it was a symbol of survival. As she sang, her voice stronger than ever, she scanned the crowd. In the second row sat Callie, no longer bitter, no longer envious, just present. She had become a music coach for underprivileged kids and was rebuilding her own path in silence and humility. Morena finished her song. The crowd erupted. She bowed, tears in her eyes. To the audience she said, "Every voice matters, even when it breaks, even when it's betrayed. What matters most is that you keep singing." If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories just like this. Your voice, your support, and your presence mean everything. Stay inspired and keep singing your truth.